And Amanda Sharratt is back with us for her monthly visit. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
Great to have you back. Amanda is CEO and financial advisor for Your Wealth Financial Solutions in Medina. And we're going in a little different direction this morning than we have in any of your other monthly visits anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Talking about kids.
Kids.
Yeah.
All right. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, where do we start with teaching kids about money?
Yeah, I think it's important for them to know where money comes from.
The government, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
that's right.
no. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and as adults and parents, we probably think, of course my kids know that money comes from work because I go to work every day. And how else would I be able to pay for my mortgage and all the fun things that they want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think they probably do know that if you really talk to them, but that they are not connected. They're not paying the bills, right? And so connecting it to their world age appropriately. So maybe they are a teenager and they do need to go get a job and they're working outside the home. But even before that, with younger kids, maybe you're giving them allowance. I would just say, consider making them work for money. So if they do chores, then they get that allowance or they get paid for doing those chores. They start really connecting that work when they work, they get paid. And when they don't work, they don't get paid. Or I really want to I really want to save up and pay for this thing. Hey, mom, dad, can I do more chores? Right? And this really building those skills for when they are an adult.
And I guess if you get to that question, may I do some more? Then that sounds to me like you're on the right track.
I think so, right. And you're really building that because think about that when they become an adult. There's going to be things where they maybe need to get a side hustle or a part-time job to pay for things or pay off debt or whatever it is, right? So you're building those skills now while they're under your house.
Okay. You talk about in some of the things you've written, including kids in the family money conversations. How do we do that?
Well, I think one of them is to really talk about, so I talked about that money comes from work, but we should talk to them about where does money ultimately come from. As Christians, we believe it comes from God. Mm-hmm. So we are just stewarding that money. So that's a conversation I think we should have with them. And then also, again, age appropriately, we want to make sure that we're not scaring them, but include them in your budget conversations. Mm-hmm. So why is your yes a yes? Why is your no a no? Like, right, we feel God has called us to this, or we don't feel God has called us to this, or we need to save up and pay for this item. So, hey, we're going to put a chart on the refrigerator, and when we have enough money, we can go on that vacation. Yeah. Or, no, that just really isn't in the budget, so we can't do that right now, but maybe later. So I think that it's important to start building that conversation versus just saying yes or no. They don't know why you're saying that.
Because we didn't, as you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we may not have ever made sure they made the connection between money and work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to just talk to them and say, hey, not just no, but no, not right now, or no, we're not going to do that because that's not right for our family. And making them, that's building their ability to make that decision when they're an adult.
So the kids have seen that money comes from work, but ultimately from God, and they've seen that how the family manages money. What do you do? How do you teach your kid what to do with the money they've been given?
Yeah, I think a healthy relationship with money is when we do three things with it. We give, we save, and we spend. And we do that as adults. And really, that is a budget, right? I mean, it's really simple budget, but you're starting to teach them how to budget. Okay, hey, every time you get money, you should give some. If you guys give to your church, then you teach them that and give a tithe. If whatever they're saving for, they should save for that and then spend. And some kids, that comes very easily. Some people, that comes very easily. But sometimes you have to say, no, it's okay. Go ahead and spend that money on that item. And so teaching them that healthy relationship between giving, saving, and spending is really important to build that skill. Again, it's all about building the skills while they're a kid in your house. And then they'll have that already, that foundation when they are adults.
Something that I probably did not learn until I was in my 30s at least, was I didn't learn about investing until some people that I was working with at the time kind of took me under their wing, because now it just seems like it's a very normal part of your work life that your HR department will tell you about investing opportunities, but the difference between saving and investing is really big.
Yes, and telling them that, even as adults, again, we are saving for shorter term goals. And so in a kid's world, that is going to be something like a game or spending money on vacation, right? So, hey, we're saving for those shorter term goals and we're investing for longer term goals. So we can talk about saving, investing for a car or college or a down payment on their house. And that may be really far away for them, but it's good to start that conversation and helping them to understand that here's the difference between saving and investing. And then when they are having an earned income, talk about that magical Roth IRA, and they can start contributing to the Roth IRA and getting that tax-free growth. That's wonderful.
And so what about expenses? When you're having them pay, how do you explain there are certain things that you need to take your money out of for? Because I remember being a kid and thinking, that sounds insane. Why would I take my money out to pay for something like, I don't know, electricity? That seems insane.
Right. Yeah, they're, again, connecting it to their world. So saying, okay, yes, you can have that toy, but I'm not buying it. You need to buy it.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Right.
Yeah.
When we go to the store, it's a lot of times my daughter may want something, and I'm like, nope, we're not here for that. But if you want it, you can buy it. And she does have money. And so she understands that she can buy that if she wants to. So I think, again, starting small, but then even the bigger conversations of who's paying for your car, or are we splitting it? Who's paying for your college, or are we splitting it? Who's paying for your wedding? All of those things, because it's really important for them to know, or at least include them in the conversation. Because I talk to a lot of people where they're like, I don't know if my parents are helping me with college, or I don't know if they're helping me with a wedding. And then it's hard for them to prepare and plan.
Mm-hmm. And that means that's part of going back to where we were a couple of minutes ago about the family money conversation. If you get them involved in that conversation, and that conversation involves the future, there's going to be a lot less hesitancy and maybe, uncertainty about the future, because the kids know that, number one, there's a plan, and number two, they're part of the plan.
Yes, it's really important. And then also, because I think sometimes as parents, we feel like we should do that. And so if we're not able to financially, we feel bad. And maybe that's why we don't talk about it. But I don't think any parent has to pay for college or help with the wedding or anything. But at least if you can help set them up for it. Hey, we can't do that financially, but I'm going to help you apply for scholarships, or I'm going to help you make a plan that we can get through this, hopefully without debt. And talk through that, I think, is really important. And again, this is all just building that foundation in the house so they have the skills when they get out into the world. I meet people all the time who are like, this should be taught in school. And it is more and more.
Yeah.
But helping learn it at home is really important.
Yeah, wow, it seems like such a monumental task to be able to explain money to a kid. I feel like so much of my experience with money as a kid is still impacting me today. And if only I had more knowledge beforehand, it would have really helped me.
I'll tell you what, you've got one written down here on your list, Amanda. And by the way, Amanda Sharratt, if you're just tuning in, is CEO and financial advisor at Your Wealth Financial Solutions in Medina. She's with us once a month to talk about financial issues. And today we're talking about raising money smart kids. But I noticed one thing on that list that you sent us that is kind of like the big one when they get to be teenagers. CAR, car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Man, that has got to be, if you lay the groundwork properly in the years leading up to the car, that car thing may be hopefully a little easier than it is for some parents.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because, and also I think that it's okay. My dad bought my first car and I didn't contribute to it. But I do think sometimes it's really good for the kids to contribute to it, because then they have buy-in, and maybe they treat it a little bit differently if they paid for it. And so, yeah, having that conversation, whether you are going to pay for all of it or half of it or none of it, having that conversation so that the kid knows, and when they start working and they can be aggressively saving, because every 16-year-old wants to get that car, wants to drive, be independent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's important, and my daughter is 9, but we have a custodial investment account. And so when she gets money, she puts money in there, and we've already told her about, what ETFs are and mutual funds and bonds. And does she know every detail about it? No, but we are just starting to plant those seeds. And so she knows she can use that money for a car or college or her wedding.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
This is what we call planning ahead. And this is why we're glad you're here, Amanda. For people who maybe want to know more about what you do and how you do it, how can they get in touch with you?
My website is the best place, and that is yourwealthfinancial.com. Thank you.
All right. It is great to have you here. Is there any idea where we're going to go next month in July when you come by and see us?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think we did have something set, but I will just leave it up to a surprise.
Yeah, we were juggling a little bit. Yeah, because we're thinking about some deeper discussions, Birch, in the future. Maybe, this 8 to 10 minutes that we have on a monthly basis, we can cover a lot of things. But maybe if our listeners have a question for you, Amanda, can they write to you on your website?
Well, they could send me an email. My email is on my website, so they could go on there and send me an email. I think that'd be great if we want to answer some listener questions.
Yeah. Or you can go to the Contact Us section of our website here at heartfeltradio.org. And if you would like to ask a question to Amanda, we would love to entertain that and maybe do a whole day of just questions and answers. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be.
Amanda, thank you. It's always great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Amanda Sharratt, CEO and financial advisor, Your Wealth Financial Solutions in Medina. Once again, that website is yourwealthfinancial.com, correct?
That's correct.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
See you next month, 7:47 right now.